We took a little walk around.
Yeah, you got to. So I gotta bother you guys right there. Is that all right?
That's fine.
All right. Over here. Swap. All right. I'm gonna leave that up there for a minute. By the way, this was this D, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would the standard deviation be larger or smaller for D? For group D. So we got a standard deviation of 3.550. Would it be bigger or smaller for group D? What does standard deviation measure? Yeah, the averages from the mean or the spread, right? So is the information in group D more or less spread out than B? More spread out. So would its standard deviation be bigger or smaller than this? Bigger. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And it would be. It will be. Okay, I like it. Okay. Oh, let me do this. Let me show you how this looks in the calculator. Before I go too far here. Yeah, I gotta do it this way. So I'm gonna redo this. Or maybe we'll do the one. Yeah, let's do the one for group D in the calculator. Let's see what it looks like. Everybody's got a calculator at one point right now? All right. Okay, and a sign. So while we're waiting for this, go ahead and go to list 1 in your calculator. Here we go. And let's all put this data in here. I'm going to clear my list 1 out. I'm just going to put the data from group D.
Wait,
Where have I
how
put
did
those
you do that?
papers? We'll leave them over here.
Push
No.
stat.
Oh.
And then push enter. And then to clear it, you push clear.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they are.
And then down, I think. Or wait.
So I'm going to put
up.
group D.
No, sorry. Where is it?
So if you want to know how to clear something, you,
Okay.
you go up to list, you hit clear, enter. So now the list is nice and
Thank
clear. I'm going to put group D in 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, Jeff, they can read. So I'm going to do 2 things for you. I'm going to show you how to recreate that table in the calculator. And then you would just copy it down on a test or quiz or whatever. And then I'm going to show you the shortcut of how the calculator can just get the standard deviation in 1 step, which of course you don't learn shit from, which is why I don't let you just do that. So tell me, what do I want that second list to be? I want it to be this, right? Where are my x values? List 1. And what's the mean again? It was 13. So I want L2. Do you see I have L2 highlighted? So I can define L2 now. If you ever use Excel, it should feel a little bit familiar. And by the way, if we had enough classrooms with computers, we would totally teach this in Excel. But we don't because we're poor and blah, blah, blah. So if I go up L2, and I want L2 to be X's, well, they're in L1, second 1 to get L1. Bam. L1 minus the mean, which is 13. Bam. All right, let me know if you have trouble with that. If you get it.
What did you do? Sorry. Can you just repeat?
Careful now. Careful now. Let me do it again. I'll do it again. Do it again.
And then you put second.
Do it live.
L1.
Figure this out.
And then minus 13.
First step. Do I want to put something in that spot where I'm at right now? No, I want to put something in the whole list. So you better freaking highlight the list. I'm going to define what list 2 is. What's the definition for list 2? The x is L1 minus the mean, 13. So let's try this again. Where's L1? I mean, on the keypad. It's right above 1. So if you hit Shift, otherwise known as second, 1, then you should have an L1 minus the mean, which is 13. All right, it's not a lot happening, but let me know if you have trouble. It's okay. Let me know if you have trouble. I've been using this calculator a lot, so of course I know it.
Yes.
You maybe haven't, so you shouldn't necessarily know it. It's okay. Everybody with me?
No,
So if you hit, no, what's up?
I give up on this calculator.
Don't do that, because you're gonna die if you do it.
I
So
know.
let's not die. Hit stat. Hit the stat button for me. See right there? Yeah. And hit edit because you want to edit the list.
Okay, so what's in
You
there?
can just hit enter, yeah. And now go up to L1 and hit clear. Enter. Enter. There. Now it's all nice and clear. Now just put Group D's numbers in that list.
So put 6 and then enter.
Yep. You got it? Sweet.
I just, oh my god,
All right.
this calculator gonna be the death of me.
Mm-hmm.
If I hit enter right now, let me turn this dude around so people at home can see. There you go. People that better be sick or something. Get better soon. Does everybody get that? Let me know if you don't. It's okay if you don't. It's just not okay if you don't say anything. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. What do I want L3 to be? Yeah, L2 squared. So I'm going to do that. Go over to L3. I don't even have to clear. I'm just going to override it. Make L3 L2 squared.
Square.
Let me do it again. So I'm going to want L3 to be whatever was in L2 squared. So I can get rid of the negatives. So you're going to make L3 equal to L2. Second 2 to get L2 squared. Is that all right? You guys all right?
Yeah.
And then you would just, for me, you would copy that down on the test, whatever, because I want to see your tables filled in. All right. And then what would I do after that? When I get this table created, what do we want? When do we want it? No. What do we want?
To add it up.
To add up what?
L3.
L3. I love it. Yes. What's up?
I mean, it'll help you check the work. Or you can use that to do that part. How to survive this time of year.
So how do you put the negative?
Oh, you don't. So,
About those games.
are you entering for L2? What are you doing?
Entering for L2.
So you don't have to enter for L2. So if you clear that,
Yeah, watch this.
It's
So clear it.
everything.
Yeah. Now, I want L2
Mm-hmm.
to be all the x's. Well, that's L1
Mm-hmm.
minus the mean, which is 13.
Okay.
So now you're going to tell it. See how I have L2 highlighted?
Uh-huh.
So tell it you want L1. So that's going to be second one. See how L1 is up there?
Uh-huh.
It's second one. So there's L1 minus the mean, which was 13. Enter. Bam.
I'm
Now
not
if you
the
go to
bad calculator.
L3, you're gonna it's gonna take a little practice.
Yes, it
is.
is.
It is. And you guys, if only I would have created a manual specifically for what you'll need for statistics and put it up on a website or something. I know I'm being facetious, I don't care. Print out the freaking calculator Bible for yourself. I'm not gonna do it for you. Right? And you can have it sitting next to you as you do homework and whatever, not as you do quizzes or tests. You can't use it then, all right? But, as you get used to this calculator, it's good to have a step-by-step about what to do. Okay, Now, and again, by the way, if I don't give you a very long list of data, do you even have to necessarily do these? I'm just giving you as an option. If I do give you a long ass list of data, or if the mean wasn't 13, it was 1.7824, you want to do that shit by hand necessarily? No, I'd rather have the calculator spit all that stuff out, right? It's not Math 88. Let the calculator do all that stuff, right?
So
It's up to you.
How do you do L3 then?
All right, let me do L3 again. L3 was just the square of these, and where are these in L2? So I want L3 to be L2 squared.
Okay.
And on my handout, I actually list the instructions for each list. You'll see it.
Okay.
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 So L3 will be L2 squared. By the way, if you ever get this error, data type, that means you're trying to put an entire list of information into one spot. Of course the calculator's gonna freak out. It's like, I'm only worth $100. I can't do that shit. Now, you guys I think told me what to do next. We want the what of the what? The sum of L3, right? L3 is a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look right above stat. What's it say right above the stat button? List. Okay, now do this for me. It's second mode to quit. Because otherwise, anything you try to do is going to try to put into the list. So get out of the list. You with me? In fact, that quit button is really useful. If you ever push a button accidentally, like, what the shit, just hit second mode. It brings you back to the home screen, right? So hit second stat. Now I'm in the list stuff. What do I want to do to list 3? I want to add it up, which sounds like very, very basic math. What's another word for add them up? Sum. And which one do I want to sum up? L3. Sum up L3. Bam. And again, if you really hate what I'm doing, you can always just do it row by row, but the means and the numbers won't always be that pretty, so it might be a good idea to get to know the lists. Yes? Oh, so again, to get that sum, where do I go? Second stat, to go to list, because I want to do stuff with my list. I want to do math on my list. I want to do a sum on my list. Which list? List 3. Now, real quick. This is more than I want to do, but this is probably good. That would go, where would that 252 go? Up here in the formula. Where would it go? What's 252? It's the sum of these. So it's going to go here, right? Is that all right if I do this? Yes? You're like, man, it's your class. So then this will be 25.2. Is that cool, right? Divided by 10. You already can see it's going to be bigger. Shit. And then what's the square root of 25.2? And then this is, let's B, right?
5.020.
5.020. Is that what we thought it would be? Bigger, yeah? Yeah, it's a decent amount bigger. All right, now watch. Here's the ultimate thing. So you're going to have to do that work. I'm going to make you do that work. In section 2.7, you better do this table, or else I'm going to make you redo it. And on the first test, you better do this table. After the first test, we're never going to do this specific table ever again. We're going to have other tables to do. I didn't want you to get too excited. Come on now. I'm a math teacher. I'm not that nice. So watch. Here's how, for right now, you can check your work. Hit stat again. Stat. What is it we're doing up here? We're trying to do what? We're trying to calculate the standard deviation, right? Calculate. How many variables do I have in the calculator? Not values. How many variables? 1. So I'm going to do one variable statistics. This is going to become your friend immediately. I think I already showed you this, didn't I? Didn't we see the 5-number summary and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of our stats, and I want to do it on L1. Do you see this? Do you see sigma?
I don't have that.
Oh yeah.
What do you have?
I
What?
don't have that.
No.
Oh,
Cal-
I know.
Go to calculate. Yeah. You want to calculate, yeah. Right? 5.022. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I like it. This one is interesting. All right, now. How are we all feeling so far? There's a lot to this, obviously. Now, this is, you got to go with 4 weeks. All right. It's not even 4 weeks, is it? Holy shit.
3.
Exactly, it's like 3 weeks. All right. We're all crazy. We already talked about that. There's an average age in here right now, correct? Yes. And there's a standard deviation, isn't there? We could get all the ages and do all this shit and get standard deviation. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
If I took a sample of students from this class, would their average age be the same as the average age of everybody? What would you put
No.
money on? I would put money on it being different. And I don't have much of that. So that must mean something, right?
It'll be different.
You guys semi-different. You somebody with me. So now watch. This is where things get really interesting. The standard deviation for a sample is going to have one little difference between this one and itself, right? If I took a sample, let's say that you guys are my sample, right? I did like a cluster, 1, 2, 3 groups, and I took everybody from this group. Everybody with me. A little bit. Not really. Some of you guys are looking at me, so I'll take that as a yes. Their average age is obviously not the same as the average age, right? But what about their standard deviation? How do you think the standard deviation I get for these people would relate? Now here's what's interesting. Let me see. This is a little bit too big of a question. Their average age is, let's just pretend that they're all younger than everybody. Are you guys with me? Let's take a look at them. Let's just pretend. Right? You guys with me? Let's just say they're all younger. So their average age would be less. Their ages, will they be closer to their average or closer to everybody's average?
Theirs.
It'd be closer to theirs because that's where their stuff came from, right? Their average, that's where it came from, is their ages. So the standard deviation for a sample, since they're all closer to their own average, a standard deviation for a sample is always too small. Let me say that again. Whenever you take a sample, and if I use that formula, the answer will always come out too small. Because they're closer to their own average than they would be to the actual average. Does that make any sense? If that made no sense, at the very least, you can get this part. So, let's take this away. I can't use this formula then. How do I make, if I'm dividing two numbers, how do I make the answer become smaller? Sorry, become bigger? Because their standard deviation is going to be too small. Is everybody cool with that? If you don't quite get that, it's semi-okay. They're closer to their own average, which means if I'm measuring how far away they get from their own average, it's going to be smaller than how they would compare to everybody's. So I need to make the answer to that always come out a little bigger. So instead of dividing by n, how do I make an answer become bigger? I divide by more or less?
More.
Less. So here's the one for, and remember this, Greek letters population, our letters sample. And that's why there's an S. Oh, you're dead. Sorry. So on the bottom here, it's not n, it's a little less than n. So that the answer comes out a little bigger. It's kind of a correction. This n-1 is a correction for it just being a poor little sample.
Okay.
Okay, that's the best way to look at it. And the other little difference is not a big difference. What should I put here? X bar, because it's the same. Same thing really, but still. So if I know I have a sample, I have to use this equation. This is what I said first day. This is what keeps people down, the Greek letters and also the concepts behind when to use which formula. Now you see why these symbols are important, right? So look at the calculator again. Let me see, is it still here? Turn on. Yes. Do you see how the sample standard deviation? If it was a sample I put in, do you see how it's a little bigger? I like it. So the calculator is always going to give you these two. We're the humans. We have to know when to use which one, right? Don't just put them both down or use the one that's better. No, if it's a sample, you better use that. If it's a population, you better use that one. It's a dumb calculator. It has no idea. Okay. I'll be the first one to kill us when it gains sentience.
I remember what you said about me.
All right. So with all that, let me give you this handout. Oh, shit. So on one side is a completely worked out example, including the kinds of questions I like to ask. And the other side is a completely blank one that you need to do. And this time I'll let you work with whoever you want to work with. That could be nobody. So one side is totally worked out.
My little mess.
That's the one I want you to work on now.